3, 2, 1. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Dukes of Gaming podcast. You know it's your boy, the Duke of Procrastination. Thomas, what's going on, everybody? Hope you had a wonderful week. Hopefully better than mine. But joining me is my fellow Dukes of Gaming. First and foremost, we have the Duke of Design. What's going on, Ben? How are you this week?
Very good. Very good. Excited to be with you guys.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Excited to be here too. Next, we have the Duke of Rocket League. What's going on, Cole? How are you this week?
I am doing good. I don't know if y'all felt it, but down in Georgia, you can feel a slight crisp in the air. You can feel the fall coming. I know, Alfredo, you're a little bit more north than me. You feel it, and it feels good.
A crisp in there. I never heard that.
Slight crisp. A slight crisp.
I gotta
know, y'all.
It's a Georgian thing. You wouldn't
It's a Georgia
understand.
thing. I have no idea.
Well, true enough, true enough. And finally, last and certainly not least, we have the Duke of Education. How are you, Alfredo?
I am doing great, enjoying that crisp in the air as well on my my 2-mile walk with my dog. It's great. I'm no longer drenched in sweat when I come back, so that's always a positive.
That's always good. As the fall comes in, we get a little cooler weather. So hopefully that, kind of progresses as we go forward into the fall. But this week we have some interesting topics, really a PlayStation focused week. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about a little bit of the Horizon news, a little bit of the controversy, then kind of go into the PlayStation conference to see what we're going to expect. Always just a little housekeeping. The Plague's Tale, Ben's Book Club will be releasing soon. Be on the lookout for that. But you already know what we got to do first. Let's start with Ben. Which been your game? What's the games you've been playing this week, man?
I don't really have anything to report. It's pretty much more pathologic when I can carve out some time. Been playing a little bit more Killzone Mercenary on Vita.
Okay.
Just kind of chipping away toward the platinum. I'll get there eventually, but I'm not really driving at it too intensely.
Are you a platinum hunter? Because I feel like you talk about platinum games a lot.
Am I? Alfredo, I'm so glad you asked. I have like 109 platinums at this point. I enjoy going for platinums,
yes.
but yeah, that's a yes. That's definitely a yes. I definitely enjoy going for platinums, but I don't do it for every game. And I haven't really gotten any recently. I guess actually I did Plague's Tale, so that's the only one I've done in the past month or two. But I go through phases. Sometimes I'm like platinuming things hardcore, and sometimes I'm not. And right now is a not.
Nice.
The Duke of the Platinum. I like it. I have 7 platinums, so not like I like platinuming games, but at the same time, like it just depends on the game for sure.
Same. I was shocked actually because I looked at my trophy because I was considering getting the Overwatch because apparently I'm almost there, and apparently I have like 8 platinums. I was like, wow, more than I thought.
Some games just I know the Telltale games, for example, it's pretty easy to get the platinum in those.
But then you gotta rewatch all those scenes, and I'm not about that life.
That's true.
No, the Telltale games are like you basically just get them for playing.
Yeah, I think that games like Detroit, Heavy Rain, those games require kind of like replays for the platinum. Yeah. I had Tales of the Borderlands. I only played through that one once.
Oh, really? You got the platinum for that?
Mm-hmm.
I think my first PS. I'm hearing a lot of echo.
Yeah, me too. I think it goes back.
That's weird.
Do we want to rejoin real quick?
Yeah, I don't. That's super quick though.
Yeah, it's not really a solution for it. Keeps going back.
Mm-hmm.
Is it still there?
Test.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
Why? Why Discord? Why?
Should we just pick up where we left off?
Yeah, I guess we can just go to you now. We'll start now.
Okay, cool.
All right. So, Cole, what you been playing this week?
Yeah, so been playing. It's back. I'm hearing it again. Are y'all hearing it? Before we get
I
going.
got it. I got it a little bit when you.
Yeah. Hello. I'm not
Good
getting
now,
it
I
anymore.
think.
Okay, we'll start over. Okay, so kick it back to me again, I guess.
Okay. All right, so Cole, what you been playing this week?
So I have been playing. Tell me if I'm pronouncing this right. Genshin Impact or Jensen Impact?
Genshin Impact.
Genshin Impact. Okay. Oh, I've read a lot about this game. Last year when it came out, Breath of the Wild, whatever. I was just browsing. Look, since I'll tell you about my Ghost of Tsushima fiasco later, but I was just looking for stuff to play, and it was free to play, so I booted it up. I played it about 2-3 hours. This game's pretty good. I like it a lot, really. It's like Breath of the Wild. It's beautiful on PS5, and you can play it. I think it's on mobile. It's definitely it's on iPad. It's pretty much on everything. I think it's on Switch too. Have you guys played this?
I haven't.
In like 5 hours.
Yeah. What'd you think about it?
I liked it. I thought I'd like it a lot more because you're combining anime with Breath of the Wild. I'm like, oh, perfect. And when I played it, I was like, this is cool.
What?
But yeah, I liked it. I can't say anything bad about it, but it just didn't like keep my attention.
Did you play multiplayer?
No.
What were you about to say, Alfredo?
I played probably way too much of that game, especially when it first came out. I probably logged 30 to 50 hours, somewhere in between there. Like, I got pretty high level. I completed all the content that was available when it first released, like all the story content. Yeah, and I had a blast with it. I liked it a lot more than Breath of the Wild, which isn't
Really?
shocking probably if you know that I don't like Breath of the Wild that much. But yeah, for me, I liked it because of the reasons that Thomas already stated for anime plus Breath of the Wild. And I don't know, I just really enjoyed the gameplay loop because it incorporated the feeling of like superpowers, I guess, because everybody has a special Avatar The Last Airbender element associated to them. So I really enjoyed it.
It's less survival based than Zelda is, yeah. Than Zelda. That's the main difference for me, and I get why like a lot of people like it. I think that an interesting game in that kind of mold is I think it's Phoenix Rising, Immortals.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one that's kind of lumped in that same Breath of the Wild clone thing that people consider good. So yeah,
This one feels more RPG-ish, but
For sure.
that's why I was asking you guys. I'm wondering if it's worth me continuing playing this game, but I like it pretty good. I mean,
Well, I
it's
heard
pretty cool.
they they included a lot more quality of life improvements. Like when the game first came out, there were a lot of things that were lacking. The story content that they had was limited, super limited. They like only had 1 or 2 towns available, but now they have, I think, like double the amount of story content available. They're like constantly releasing new characters, stuff like that. The only thing I'm still waiting for is that like the campaign to actually be co-op, because right now how they implement multiplayer is basically that you can only do these co-op dungeons basically, and the actual missions that you go on for the campaign is all solo, which is fine because it's still fun, but I'm still waiting for that one, and then I'll probably get back into it.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm gonna play it a little bit more. The gameplay seems really good. The graphics are beautiful. To me, it looks better than Breath of the Wild and Immortals. But the other game that I've played mostly this week is it was in my, I guess it was a PS Plus free game from a few months ago, and I want to download it and play it, kind of get my Grand Theft Auto fix a little bit. Is Just Cause 4. Man, this game is gosh, it's kind of like, it's right there. This game could be really, really special, but it's just kind of, I don't know. It's very muddied and it doesn't look good on the PS5, which the vistas like from afar kind of look good, but it just, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with it. I remember Just Cause 2 and maybe 3 looking better than this.
Does it have the PS5 upgrade, or is it only
No.
PS4?
Yeah, it's PS4. but it's just not quite there. But then again, some of the stuff you can do in the game is absolutely incredible. Like the hang glider is awesome. You know, I'm sure you guys have seen videos. The destruction elements is the best destruction elements I've seen in an open world game. I hadn't played Crackdown 3, but it seems like almost like kind of what they promised. Well, not necessarily. They were like tearing down skyscrapers back then in that E3 demo from years ago. But man, you could do some like crazy stuff. Blowing up, you can blow up these propane tanks, and it sends them like if you shoot one side, they'll rocket across like the map and blow up into stuff, and everything it just falls apart. It's what do y'all think about that?
It seems super. I never actually got into that game, but it seems super Saints Row, which I love that franchise. So maybe I should get into it.
I think it's a lot less like irreverent, silly, and more like slapstick over the top, silly. I played Just Cause 3. I think I platinumed it actually. I played it for like 70 hours, and this is the funny thing. Yeah, this is the funny thing about it. I don't think I ever once turned on the sound for that game because that game was like straight up listen to podcasts and audiobooks while I play it, and I did it for 70 hours and platinumed it.
So what'd you think of 4? What'd you think of Just Cause?
I didn't play 4. I haven't played 4.
I've heard did you get it? It's free. It was a free game.
I might have. Yeah. I probably picked it up. I've heard that 4 is a lot more stable than 3 was, because 3 you could tank the frame rate in no time flat. You just blowing shit up, and blowing shit up is the name of the game in Just Cause. I also got all the DLCs in Just Cause 3, and there was one of them I remember that like basically gave you a jetpack, and that really broke the hell out of the balance with the game.
Well, don't they actually have a jetpack in 4?
I don't know. They've got a glider, right? Which is standard in 3 as well. But the fact that you could propel yourself with the glider, like broke the whole game pretty much. But it was fun.
Yeah, no, and I can see that. So to me, that's a little bit part of the downside is that you're a little too like overpowered with this stuff, like the parachute and everything. Like, I mean, you can just grapple on anything, and he just swoops back up and gets momentum, which is actually nice, and it's fun to just pick up and play. But I do feel like it hinders the game a little bit. And the glider is you literally can fly pretty much. You can pop the glider on, and you can go up an insane amount.
I remember. So I remember the grappling to glide thing where you had to like keep grappling to get more elevation. That was really fun, and like finding a good balance, and that was really fun. And then as soon as I got the jetpack, you didn't have to grapple anymore.
Yeah.
Which kind of cut out like all of the challenge of staying in the air.
Yeah. But I was thinking, I hope they stick with this game, and I would love for them to release a next gen only. And to what you said, now I'm playing on PS5, but I had no slowdown at all, which was very impressive. Stuff was blowing up, tearing down, and it was really good. But I really hope that they stick with this franchise. I don't know how Just Cause 4 sold. I don't think it did that well, but I hope they stick with it, because I'd like to see another iteration of this, because it's special, I think.
Don't they have like awesome weather systems in Just Cause 4 too? They didn't have that in
tornadoes and stuff.
Yeah, the tornadoes is like the main premiere.
That's
like
awesome.
That's the picture of it, and I hadn't seen one yet. I hadn't got that far, so I'm gonna keep playing to see all that. And the world is absolutely massive. I mean, Just Cause 3, it was massive. But it's just not very pretty to look at, which is weird. It looks very muddied, and I don't know how to describe it. I feel like the old ones weren't like that. Anyway, but yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Well, good stuff. I played Just Cause 2 on PlayStation 3, like the demo. That's the most experience I've had with that game. I probably put like 5 hours into that demo, because that kind of just puts you in the open world just with the grapple thing. So, like you said, I hope they do make more, because there's a place in the industry for those type of games to test the physics of games, So I hope that we see a Just Cause 5 or a reboot. I think a reboot probably would be better.
Well, and it's the only franchise that's open world that's pushing the boundaries of physics, right? Is there anybody else doing that? Pushing the boundaries of physics for stuff like that? Grand Theft Auto surely. I mean, Grand Theft Auto kind of is with the vehicle physics and stuff like that, but not as far as destruction.
I'd say that if there's anybody doing it, I think Avalanche is probably the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
So they made that really good Mad Max game. So if we got a sequel,
was it really good though?
Yeah.
Was it really good? It was fine.
Do you like Mad Max?
I played the game. I finished the
You
game.
know what I'm saying? Like this series.
Yeah,
Like,
I do like Mad Max.
I thought it worked from like a Mad Max like story standpoint, and then I also liked the combat because it was basically the Arkham combat.
Yeah, that's fair. I think what soured me a little on that game specifically was like how integral it's Mad Max, but how integral the car was. Not how integral, I guess, but how not refined that whole system was, because I don't know, upgrading it did not feel how I expected a Mad Max game to feel as far as cars go.
I'll put it like this. Everything I wanted Arkham Asylum to do from an open world, like car combat standpoint, Mad Max did better. From that standpoint, obviously I like Arkham Knight better as a game. But I thought just for the car mechanics and everything, I thought that was just handled really well by Avalanche. So I just thought that game. But I digress. Good stuff, Cole. Let us know if you keep playing Just Cause 4. I'm interested.
I'm gonna keep playing it because it's fun. I mean, it's exactly what Ben said. Ultimate podcast game, or I put on a YouTube channel and I'm just playing, watching it because I'm skipping every cutscene and I just want gameplay. I do not care.
I want to know the Just Cause like story, lore, enthusiasm.
Right. What is that game supposed to be about?
He's like a secret agent,
right?
I think.
I would have never known.
Ben would know.
With the grapple hook, I think, I don't know the story. I just remember playing the demo, and that's what it seemed like.
Yeah, all I remember was that it fomenting some uprising in a South American country. That's all I remember.
It really reminds me of James Bond. It's like a third person, like extreme James Bond game.
James Bond wishes he could travel like that.
Yeah.
But I digress. So I've been playing 12 minutes. And by playing, I mean I beat it in 2 days because it's not a very long game. But I have positive thoughts on this. I see why people are criticizing this game. Like, I get it. It's pretentious as hell. And also, if you're playing on controller, which I was, it's a lot. Like, I wish I was playing with the mouse and keyboard. The whole time I was just like, this would be a perfect point and click. Instead, I'm having to drag. And like, when you get into certain parts, it's very time sensitive things you have to do. So on the controller, it's just way difficult. But besides all that, I thought the story was... I think it works really well as a video game. I think if you you can't do that story in any other medium but a video game. And I give it high marks for that. I give it high marks for that. I don't think it's the best written just story per se, but I do like the fact that they're using the fact that this is like a different medium to tell this pretentious ass story.
I think it's difficult just in general to write a time loop story, especially with things becoming monotonous and inserting like a video game element and having you repeating all those actions, and it is difficult in and of itself. And I feel like the game did a good job at I guess keeping people incentivized to keep trying new things and giving people different options. But like I said last podcast, I think I had like a very streamlined experience where like almost everything I did always gave me a new option. So I don't know the other side where you try things and then you have to just repeat things over and over. That could get super annoying. But yeah, I mean I still recommend it. I think it's a great game. The story is interesting. The twists are interesting. I thought that the story was good though, but it was definitely not what I expected out of the game, that's for sure. And I give it points for that.
Yeah, I think the actors did a really good job, but I feel like some of the gameplay systems kind of let down their performance. Just example, like when Daisy Ridley, who plays the wife, you first time you're in the game, you can ask her about like her father, and she'll get real, just coy about everything. You'll know later in the game why, but it's like she's really real coy, and like you could tell that really upset her bringing it up. Then you click a different dialogue box, and she's happy again. And it's like just that shift in tone takes me out of it just a tad. You know, and I thought that, you know, obviously, you know, the game has a certain budget and maybe it would have cost a lot more to implement something like that.
But at the same time, they got 3 AAA actors, so like, what is their budget?
Yeah, that's a good question. I really want to know like how this. I'm pretty sure because Annapurna, is that you say it?
Yeah, Annapurna Interactive.
Like to me, them and like A24 are like very like similar in terms that those like there's a specific vibe that like those type of movies or games or media have. And so I think most of the budget probably went into writing, went into paying those actors, and then the rest was, you know, the gameplay is not spectacular. It doesn't look spectacular, you know. So
I don't think it needs to be though. It's a point and click, you know.
It doesn't. It's just little things like that where I wish that dialogue, like just little things. I can only nitpick the game. I can't like outright criticize really anything because I had a good time with it. And it's a short game too. So if anybody like just wants a quick experience, you could beat this game in one night if you're, you know, if you get lucky.
Ben, I think you need to play this game because I would be so curious as to what your thoughts are from a story perspective about this game. I think you would I think you would enjoy it, but I don't know.
It's up in the air. I've seen mixed things about it.
I've got a massive backlog of games that, like, from a narrative design perspective, that I really need to play. Like, I missed a lot last year, so Disco Elysium and 13 Sentinels are on my list, and Telling Lies as well. I think that was a 2019 game. I want to get to all of those before I get to 12 minutes, but I will eventually get to 12 minutes.
Ooh, for sure, play Disco Elysium. Everyone,
Disco,
that game.
That may be a good book club game.
Book club?
Disco Elysium.
Okay.
It's actually very similar to 12 minutes in, you know, the story takes centerfold and you're just, well, it's quite different because it takes a D&D approach where like your choices actually affect the game a la Telltale games. So it's very different, but there's a lot of parallels between the two. But it is a great game.
So the other thing that I've been playing, well, not really playing, consuming on my Switch, Nintendo released a Pokemon TV app that's completely free.
Please tell us what this is.
This app has the first 2 seasons of the original Pokemon series, and it has like up to like Diamond and Pearl, up to the brand new anime stuff, all for free. I was just watching all this. I'm like, I forgot how nostalgic I am for Pokemon.
Does it require Nintendo online?
I didn't test. I would assume so.
Okay.
I would assume so because you have to access the internet for it because you're streaming it. So I would assume Nintendo forces you if you. That's actually a good question. I don't know if you have YouTube app, for example, could you load Nintendo if you don't have a Could you load it if you don't have a Nintendo account? I don't know. But for this app, I think you probably do need that. But I didn't have to sign in specifically to that with my Nintendo account. It just automatically loaded. It was a shock. It downloaded in 2 seconds, and the next 2 seconds were just me going to click on the Pokemon, like, you know, just series I wanted. Watched an episode, one of my favorite episodes of the original Pokemon series, and I'm just like, wow. They got me again. Damn.
And now you're gonna buy both Diamond and Pearl when they release.
See, I was always gonna buy one of them. That was never in the. I was never gonna skip out on those. I'm thinking Arceus. That's the one where I'm like, not for sure. That's the one where I'm a day one for that one. As far as I need to see the reviews day one for that. But yeah, no, Shining Diamond and Perfect Pearl, whatever it's called. Yeah, I definitely was gonna play those. But just watching this I'm like, wow, like I don't know why I didn't do this before, but I'm happy.
That's a great idea.
Just get more people. I mean, what is it? I mean, I'm sure that some streaming service has it. I'm sure they have to pay something to that streaming service for them putting it on here. But
I mean, Netflix definitely has a bunch of the Pokemon stuff.
Do they have? I think they have their own original stuff, though. I think they have. I know they have that remake of the first movie, which was terrible.
That was actually my first time watching. I didn't see the original. I saw the remake.
See, the original was a moment. That was a moment in my childhood.
I see how I would react if I was 9 watching it.
That was somebody's birthday. I forgot when it came out, but that was somebody's birthday party.
Yeah, that's like one of my earliest memories because it was like maybe 2000 or 1999 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember going to the theater with my brother and my grandparents. I was like 3 or 4 years
This was
old.
in the movies?
Yes.
I did not know that.
I was like 5 going to see this
I
movie.
thought it was straight to VHS.
Yeah, no, it was in theaters. Yeah. That's, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So
for Pokemon.
there was a point in time where Pokemon had like a movie in theaters like every like other year.
That's so crazy to me.
So
I just can't see that.
Now I wish the movies were on this app. Ooh, I wish the movie, because I would literally like go on a binge of those. Because I was just watching. Do y'all have history with the Pokemon TV show?
Not me. I was strictly Yu-Gi-Oh fan.
I respect that. So I won't nerd out. But one of my favorite episodes, I was just watching. I'm like, if they continue putting stuff on this app, like no matter how bad these games are, they're still gonna sell like crazy because you're gonna get these young people watching these older Pokemon episodes. It's like, I'm upset that this app exists, but I'm glad it exists for nostalgia purposes. And that's pretty much all I've been doing this week. And last but not least, Alfredo.
Yes.
What do you think?
I have been. It's been a journey for me this way. I've been playing a lot of multiplayer Overwatch again. But I've been losing a lot because I haven't played in like let's say a year or so. So in these comp rounds, I just suck. I'm just in a utter losing streak. So I've been trying to go through my backlog and figure out, because this is the year of the backlog, and I've been on a roll so far. So I was going through my backlog, trying to see what I need to complete again, give it another try. And I found a game that recently, within the past 2 weeks, I believe, got a PS5 upgrade, and that is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So I've been playing a little bit of that game, because I actually had a little bit of a crisis because I really wanted to play Uncharted: The Lost Legacy with my girl Chloe, because she's the best Uncharted character. And Uncharted is just great in the first place. So I really wanted to play that, but I was looking at my backlog list, and I got to keep going. So I booted up this game. Looks amazing. Plays great. Now has 60 frames per second. But the problem is, when I'm playing through this game, all I can think about is, I really wish I was playing Uncharted right now. Just because it plays better. The story is much, much better. In every absolute category that you compare these to, Uncharted is just the better franchise / game. But at the same time, Shadow of the Tomb Raider was made by Crystal Dynamics, which then made the Avengers game, which is now like a completely hack and slash. It's a different direction for the studio. So I'm trying to see where they, I guess, grew in regards to, their jump from Shadow of the Tomb Raider to Avengers. And to be honest, it's just not much. It kind of feels like, I don't know. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is a very standard video game. The game. It's like, it has the shooting. It has, you're climbing across this edge. A rock is going to suddenly break every single time, and you almost have a close call. Like, it has these like very scripted moments that's kind of like eye roll. But at the same time, I grew up with Lara Croft games, so I played all the games and I love them to a certain degree. But I don't know. I feel like this needs another reboot, because I don't know. They just need to find their footing in what they want to do with Lara Croft, because with Uncharted, the thing that makes that special is the video, or the characters. Like, everyone not only loves the main character, Nathan Drake, but they love they love Chloe, they love Sully. Like, there's a big cast of characters that is lovable, and they have the humor and writing to back it up. And this game, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, doesn't have that. this complete reboot by Crystal Dynamics with, you know, the new Lara Croft Tomb Raider in 2013, I think. And then they had Rise of the Tomb Raider, which was actually my game of the year when that came out. I actually have a reminiscence story about that, but I'll tell it another time.
That's funny. That was actually the last Tomb Raider game that Crystal Dynamics did for Avengers, because they passed off Shadow of the Tomb Raider to Eidos Montreal,
Really?
whose previous game was Deus Ex: Mankind Divided, and their current game is Guardians of the Galaxy, coming out very soon, right?
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yep.
That is good to know. Okay, well, that said, Rise of the Tomb Raider was my game of the year when it had first came out. I want to say in 2015 or 2014 that game came out as an Xbox exclusive. And I love that game. That was all I played all over the weekend. So now when Shadow of the Tomb Raider came out, I was expecting to love it as well, and it's just not grabbing me that the way the sequel actually came out. And even though the second game didn't really have that character focus like Uncharted does, and the writing wasn't quite there, like it had the gameplay and stuff to back it up enough that it was great and I loved it. And the Shadow of the Tomb Raider just doesn't have any of that magic right now. And I hope eventually they give Lara Croft her like shining moment, like her due diligence that I feel like should be given to her, because like she started all this. And she's a great character, but I feel like they need to figure out a way to implement supporting characters who can back her up so that she doesn't just seem like this super one-dimensional, oh, I'm this archaeologist, all I do is raid tombs and that's all there is to me. But, I mean, she's an established character for, you know, 20 years, 25 years, however long it's been, so it's going to be hard to change that, but hope somebody can do it.
I have a question.
Go
First off, I want to, I think that decision not decision, but your opinion of Chloe being the best Uncharted character is very sound. I never thought about ranking them, but yeah, she's definitely number one. Like, definitely number one. Yeah. For sure. So I have a shovel. Is it time to bury Lara Croft next to Pac-Man? Next to Duke Nukem? Is it time?
It's not time, and this is why I say, because with Pac-Man, we got the wonderful 3D platforming Pac-Man games. Pac-Man World, I think is the name, and those were great games.
When did those come out?
I can't even tell you, like the 2000s, 2005-ish, around there. They were great games, let me tell you. They were great games, and Lara Croft still hasn't got that. We had with Lara Croft another reboot called Tomb Raider Legacy, like that whole trilogy, which was pretty good for its time. That came out around like 2007, 2008-ish, and it was like 3 different games, kind of like how this trilogy is. And that was pretty good, but Uncharted is based off of Tomb Raider. So, like, Uncharted will be the baseline for what Tomb Raider can be, like, whatever next generation that can be, and we still haven't hit it. So, like, one day we'll get to the Uncharted levels of Tomb Raider, but today is not that day, and I do not know when it's going to come, honestly. I don't think it's going to be Crystal Dynamics that does it, unfortunately.
I think the thing is, and I don't know what other decision they could have made, but I feel like making it an Uncharted clone kind of does it a disservice.
Well,
I've always kind of felt that way. Like, I've always, even when I played through the first one, and I liked it. But like you said, the entire time I'm thinking I could be playing Uncharted 3.
Well, it's funny because at the same time, I always am comparing it to Uncharted, but at the same time, it has the Tomb Raider DNA, because especially with this last one, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, they really put a focus on the tombs.
Yeah,
like they have it's more of like a open world hub kind of with this game, that basically you can travel to all of your past areas and your basically previous tombs that were inaccessible. Once you get the items to access them, you can come back and get them. And these tombs aren't just 5-minute things. They're like 20 to 30 minute, like to 40 minute, like expeditions that you're going on, and they're straight up puzzles. So like it's definitely different from Uncharted, because Uncharted is so story focused and that's all it is. But Tomb Raider, this one especially, really puts a focus on the tomb raiding, which I
Right.
actually like, because I enjoy those. Are more like 3D platforming puzzles, which are really fun. But at the same time, they have that part of the Tomb Raider DNA, but they don't have like the story, the actual story that's actually driving you through. Right now, it's just, oh, you're an archaeologist who is just raiding tombs. That's it. And I feel like more is needed for player urgency. Besides, oh, like we're gonna raid these tombs, and oh, by the way, the world's also ending, so you gotta fix that.
Well, Shadow of the Tomb Raider is the last of that reboot trilogy. So next time we see Lara Croft, it'll be a new spin, I'm sure.
Yep.
Yeah,
Just hope they get it right.
I hope so too. And I guess that would be a different developer, right?
I feel like, yeah, because I actually don't know who was the previous developer who did the last set of trilogies for Tomb Raider. I'm gonna look it up right now, actually, but I don't think it was Crystal Dynamics, but I could be wrong.
It wasn't. It was somebody. I don't know the name, but it was somebody different. I played the Legend ones. I played that. I think it was on PS2, right?
Oh yeah, you're right. It was Tomb Raider Legend. Oh no, it was developed by Crystal Dynamics.
Really?
Yeah, apparently.
How far did they
So-
go back in the series?
Crystal Dynamics?
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
We're about to find out right now, folks.
Maybe I'm thinking about the older ones.
They did Tomb Raider. Before Tomb Raider, they did Legacy of Kain. So Crystal Dynamics has been doing Tomb Raider after its original developer, Core Design, failed to gain critical or commercial success. Brought to you by Wikipedia. So they took over the series in 2006, apparently, with Tomb Raider Legend. So I actually hope they pass it off, because right now they're busy with Avengers, and who knows where that's going to go.
No, drop Avengers. Drop. Oh man. So now that we've gotten that out the way, let's go right into this controversy that has apparently been resolved. So earlier, it was like earlier this week, around, I'd say like Wednesday, I think. We got news that, Horizon's going to have a PS4 and PS5 version, and they're going to be priced differently. And to get both of them would be $80. If I'm saying that correct. Let me just make sure I have my facts right with that.
Yeah.
Yep,
for sure.
you are right.
And so the internet exploded, as it rightfully should, because this is just speaking to just a problem that PlayStation is having with backwards compatibility. And it kind of combines two issues: the backwards compatibility stuff, and also the PlayStation, like having two versions of the same game. And it just seems like with that, it just seemed like people just weren't interested in having that be a thing anymore. So PlayStation responded with an update that the game is going to be a free upgrade path from PS4 to PS5. And going forward, all their first party games that have been announced, I think, will be a $10 upgrade. So who wants to go first? I think this is kind of like, I feel like people got a little up in arms, too up in arms about it, but I do think that it was a bad thing overall.
I don't know. I feel like people were rightfully. I think they got enough up in arms, as justified. Because basically, just like you said, there's no reason why this should have happened at all. Because basically, PlayStation decided, hey, we're gonna test the waters and see if we can get away with charging, $80 for both versions, and not offering this super simple upgrade path that we have offered previously in all of our different games, including most recently Ghost of Tsushima with their director's cut. for that game specifically, if you wanted to upgrade from PS4 to PS5, the director's cut, it was $20, like $19.99. And then it was a $9.99 upgrade path just for like the PS5 version. So they've done it in the past, and honestly, I don't see any other justification for it other than saying, hey, can we get away with charging you guys $70 in case you didn't want to wait to get a PS5 version of Horizon Zero Dawn? It's just very... I mean, it's a smart financial move for sure, but I just don't understand how they did not see this backlash coming.
Well, I like sort of disagree with you, Alfredo, but I think we agree in spirit. But I don't think that they didn't even have this right with Ghost of Tsushima, because there was no way to spend just $10 to upgrade your base Ghost of Tsushima PS4 to PS5. You had to pay $30 for the director's cut version on PS5. There is no base Ghost of Tsushima on PS5. It doesn't exist. There's only the director's cut version. So if you want the PS5 experience, you have to pay the $30 for the director's cut version.
And just another Ghost of Tsushima though, because Ghost of Tsushima got not a PS5 update per se, but they did release an update that really only applied to the PS5 version that unlocks the frame rate.
And the haptic feedback, and there were some other goodies in there. But the big thing
was included, not with the original patch. Because I have the original patch.
With the director's cut.
No, I'm talking about before. I'm talking about maybe like 3 months ago. They released a patch that unlocked the frame rate, so it's a 60 frames per second game, and it looked a lot better. So that came out for free. And basically what happened with Horizon, how they released the patch for Horizon last week, happened with Ghost of Tsushima like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the difference here is that this is a director's cut, which includes like the DLC that they announced for Iki Island, which I believe the DLC itself. How much was the DLC? $10, $20? Does anybody know?
I just paid for it, and I've been trying all week to play this game, guys. It was on sale this week. That's why I got it. I think I paid like $15 or $20 or something for the upgrade. Maybe it was there. I can't remember. I'll look it up and tell you. But so I have the disc version. It was not on my PS5. I downloaded the director's cut version, just thinking it would just install and just smart delivered. It would just know to get it set up. But anyway, I got a snack. I came in, I was ready to play my Ghost of Tsushima on my PS5 with the upgrades. I loaded it up and I just had 2 selections. One was like a slideshow of pictures, like artwork and stuff, they were really beautiful. And the other one was a director's cut. I could not play the game. So I figured that they had only installed the director's cut version and I had to put my disc in. I forgot I had the disc version. So I reinstalled that and I had an error. So that it didn't communicate well with installing the disc version with that. I deleted everything, tried it again, got another error. So I think I'm going to have to wipe my PlayStation because whatever happened with me doing the upgrade and that old version, it has messed up the way my PlayStation thinks. So frustrating. I wanted to play that all week.
I call that dumb delivery.
Yeah, exactly. This is why Xbox has a step ahead of PlayStation as far as this, because they don't charge extra that I know of, right, for next gen versions. No, they just say.
To be fair, they had no choice because the Xbox One already offered this service.
Yeah, but they roll with it. They leaned into
it. Down pat. Like once because they originally launched with no backwards compatibility, and I believe halfway into the generation they added it through software.
Yeah.
So PlayStation just doesn't have that ability. Now, to be fair, I don't know how much that costs to put in. Like, I don't know like the amount of research that costs. That seems kind of hard to do. I would assume because they're doing it all through software. I assume that's a lot to ask Sony to do.
But
at the very least.
But I will say, if you're going to have a cross-generation platform and you're going to have PlayStation 5 is essentially a PlayStation 4. It's a PlayStation Pro 2.
Oh, the PlayStation 4 Max.
Yeah, PlayStation 4 Max. So if you're going to have that, you need to figure it out. I mean, we've all had stories, like you said earlier, where we've had issues with this delivery system You know, even I was playing Miles Morales for like a week on the PS4 version. Didn't even know it, you know? Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, they should figure it out. If it's going to be this cross-platform machine, and for the next 2 years, every game's going to be PS4, PS5 version. It needs to be. They need to figure it out.
Here's the problem. This is not a problem for most gamers. That's the thing, because most gamers are playing the new FIFA, the new Call of Duty, the new whatever. So it's not like a big deal for that. Because when I play Call of Duty, it works for Call of Duty. Like, it works for all those games. But when you get into some of the first party games, like I had the issue with Horizon, where I owned Horizon, I beaten Horizon on PS4, and it would not let me play on PS5 because the Frozen Wilds Ps4 DLC does not exist anymore. They just put it with the bundle with the I think it's edition. Right. So it's complete edition. That's $20. I'm not paying $20 for a game I've beaten. So, but it's saying go to the store to download the Frozen Wilds. And when you go to the store, it's saying nothing here.
See, it seems like there's an issue not with base games, but with when DLC is involved.
Yeah, and the problem is most games, a lot of games have some sort of DLC.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just think that this is something that one of the reasons why I heard the argument of why the PS5 and Xbox Series X should have been delayed. And this is one of the reasons to me, because, you know, this is an undercooked thing. This is just undercooked. It's not impossible for them to do this. It's just something that I'm sure they're working on. Like, I'm sure they're actively trying to work on this to be better, but it just isn't ready right now. Same thing with the switcher. That little thing on the PlayStation 5, like I'm like 99% sure that's designed to work like a like quick resume. But it's just it doesn't work like that. So I'm like assuming that's going to get updated at some point, but people will deal with it right now.
So we didn't mention that there was an update on this since to where they've standardized this now going forward for all first party releases, and they did what they probably should have done to begin with. I thought the thing that makes this even more baffling is that they were going to charge $80 for the PS4 plus PS5 version of Forbidden West. So I thought they were taking a cue from like another publisher that had done this before. I thought that I remembered the latest Call of Duty's doing something like that. But I just checked, and the PS4 PS5 cross-gen bundle for Black Ops Cold War was just $70. You just pay the PS5 cost, rather than paying an additional $10. So I don't know where they got this idea to charge this extra $10 on top of the cost of the PS5 version just to entitle you to the PS4 version. It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't.
I think the bar for worst like next gen releases, this isn't the bar. Like that wasn't going to be the worst thing I've ever seen. It's very money hungry for sure, but not the worst thing. The worst thing is 2K21, NBA 2K21, where no matter what, like if you want the next gen version, you're paying $70. I don't care. It's like I don't care.
There's no upgrade. There's no upgrade.
It's a different game. It's called 2K21 Next Generation.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Well, no, I knew this, and I said I'm not going to buy 2K21 for PS4. I just refuse. But to me, that's the bar. That's the worst example of how to do it.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
That's horrible. But this is up there.
This is more like needless confusion rather than simply money grubbing. It's like, but why? Why are you making this so complicated? This is the same thing with PS5 Spider-Man, where you had to buy the Ultimate Edition of Miles Morales, and there's literally no other way to get just the upgraded version of Spider-Man other than buying the Ultimate Edition of Miles Morales. Same thing with Ghost of Tsushima, where there's no way to just pay $10 to upgrade your base Ghost of Tsushima. You have to spend the $30 to get the Iki Island expansion as well in order to upgrade to the PS5 version. It doesn't make any sense. Like it's just needless confusion. Why are we adding in all these extra steps for this thing? So it's good that now they have pivoted after this recent outcry, and the rule going forward is you spend $60 on the PS4 version, you spend an extra $10 for the PS5 version, and you can upgrade to that whenever you like. So I think hopefully this stops all the annoyance going forward. But I would like to note that it's still not as good as what Xbox is offering, right? Because they're just offering, you get Halo Infinite at $60, and it's going to be available wherever you want it. You don't have to pay $70. You don't have to pay the extra $10 because you pay the price of the lowest SKU, and you're entitled to it on all SKUs.
Right. That's the best way forward. For sure.
I guess PlayStation could argue that, hey, you got to pay this extra $10 because of haptic feedback, which Xbox doesn't have. So I guess that's like another layer. But still, I feel like Xbox is showing us how to do it right and how to, honor the people $60, because $60 is a lot of money. But PlayStation just does not care because they're in the lead as far as,
Right.
there being millions and millions of PS4s out in the wild, and they don't want to lose out on that money. Or that potential money, I guess.
Were you about to say, Cole?
I'm just thinking if it continues trending this way, let's just like I always say, it's going to catch up to PlayStation. Xbox is doing so many things right. So we'll see.
Xbox has the goodwill and they have hype. They still have a lot to do because the way they lost the last generation was just that was a bloodbath.
Yeah,
that was as crushing a defeat in a generation as I've seen.
Yep.
So they have a lot of ground to make up. So they had to come up with these solutions, and that's how you get back in the driver's seat. And decisions like smart delivery are paying dividends now because this is not an issue at all.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think we ranted a little bit too much for that, but I think we ranted enough. So, keeping it in the PlayStation wheelhouse, a little more positive, I'd assume. We're going to talk about this PlayStation experience that is coming up. When is it? Is it this week, next week?
September 9th.
Yeah, it's coming week.
So
Thursday.
Thursday.
I am very, 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 very excited for this. Because there's one thing you can count on PlayStation to do. They're going to knock it out in a press conference. They don't play around when it comes to press conferences. Like, they play around when it comes to, consumer spending, when it comes to being, the best company in terms of, just decisions they're making. We see mistakes just when we just talked about. But when it comes to the press conferences, the last real press conference we got was the first when they announced pre-orders, right?
Yeah, the Ps5 Reveal Showcase, yeah.
And that was an incredible press conference.
Yeah, which was actually last September, I think.
Yeah.
September 2020.
The one before that was also a really good, because that was the one that announced the PS5 in terms of like letting us see it for the first time.
Yeah, that was great.
So, and I mean, if we just think back, like they always seem to knock it out the park.
Yeah, because
and I know they know Xbox has been dropping some pretty good press conferences. So I think they know they have to bring that heat, and I think they are.
Yeah, the last one we got We got Spider-Man, Miles Morales reveal.
God of War.
We got God of War reveal. We got like a ton of things. A ton of things that we weren't expecting in the first place to get, and we got them. So I'm hoping
it was still cool to see it all the time.
Right. Well, we're probably gonna get another look at Deathloop.
Unfortunately, we will.
Ben will be happy though.
I don't want to be spoiled even. I wanted to go into this game kind of like radio off, just not hearing much. And it's been impossible because it'll just show up at a press conference and watch. I'm like,
I do not think we will see any Deathloop. Don't worry. We might see Ghostwire Tokyo though. That would be cool. We haven't seen that one in a while. What's that? It got delayed. Yeah, it got delayed. Yeah.
I think they do probably need to show gameplay of it because we haven't seen much of it. And maybe they might announce a solid date in 2022. So I think we will, but we can kind of go around. I won't count that, Ben. What is your most anticipated game?
Well, they said they were not going to do anything VR related.
Right.
So, seeing the PSVR 2 kind of gets struck off that list, but that would have have been an anticipated one for me.
I'm a fan of that decision because I want that to be its own press conference.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, a deep dive into PSVR too. Yeah, and I'm sure we'll get that next year, closer to when they're going to actually announce the release date of the thing.
Right.
Yeah,
probably all in one conference.
Yeah, it's supposed to be holiday 2022s are the rumors.
Yeah, that sounds right. So in that case, I think what I would really like to see, and I'm going to rob from my prediction, my E3 prediction. What I really want to see is this new BioShock game. Really, really want to see it. And it's not going to be a PlayStation exclusive by any means, but I could absolutely see them doing some sort of, timed exclusivity or just like exclusive content with PlayStation. Or maybe they only show it at PlayStation conferences, whatever it is. I could see some sort of tie-in there. I think this game is probably still too far away, but I would love to see a teaser at least. Just get a feel for the vibe. Where are they going with this thing? Is it a Rapture? Is it somewhere new? What's the deal?
So a cinematic trailer?
Yeah, some sort of teaser. Yep.
Do you think it'll actually be a teaser? Because I feel like if we actually see anything BioShock related, we'll actually see gameplay.
I don't think so.
Only because I feel like it's been a long time and we have had the precedent set with Guardians of the Galaxy that, hey, surprise, we have this game ready and we're going to release it sooner rather than later. Because I feel like the trend has been now that we've been getting a lot of things that, this is coming a lot sooner than what we expect. With, not only Guardians of the Galaxy, but with things like Metroid Dread, which nobody saw coming at all. I feel like this has been happening more and more, which I'm here for it. I'm here for hey, we're almost at this point where this game is releasing and you don't have to wait a million years. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed for BioShock having that same trend.
Well, who's developing it? Because I know 2K is publishing it, but who's the developer for BioShock?
Cloud Chamber. And this is the reason that I don't think we're going to get. If we see anything, it's going to be not much, because we know when Cloud Chamber as a studio was like actually created and started working on this game, and it wasn't very long ago. It was like 1 or 2 years ago. Because they put out the press conference, hey, we're working on a BioShock game. Come work for us, basically. A talent attracting type press release.
I remember that announcement. It was like, come work with us, open world. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I think that came from job postings that it was going to be open world. But that's why I think it's probably further away, just because it hasn't really been in development all that long, and the studio is still like in the process of being, built. Mm-hmm. So I think we're still further off. Not only that, but all of the BioShock games got cinematic teasers before they got any gameplay. Yeah,
I remember Infinite. Yeah, I remember Infinite's trailer. I remember that.
Yeah.
I was so excited for that game.
And that trailer you go back and watch that trailer. That trailer is a different game than Infinite turned out to be. And then the gameplay trailer they showed after, totally different game than Infinite turned out to be.
For better or for worse?
I don't know. Some people say worse, but I think I like what we got from Infinite. So I can't
definitely worse, but it doesn't speak to Infinite being a bad game or anything.
It's definitely like more open and it seems more interactive.
That's a good pick. BioShock's a really good pick. And if there's an announcement, that will just make me. That probably will take it from my backlog, because I've been planning to replay those for the longest. And just seeing a cinematic trailer, give me a year. I don't need a date. Just give me a year. Give me a ballpark year. Just say 2023 and we're good.
Mm-hmm. I'd be curious to know, Thomas, if you end up playing those, how well they hold up. Because I imagine Infinite probably holds up pretty well, but I'm curious about 1 and 2. Because it's been a long time since I played those games too.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, they were never great shooters. So I think that because they were more focused on the powers, I imagine they would hold up well, but we'll see. Because I definitely am planning on playing those sometime this year. But good pick, Ben. Cole.
Okay, I hate to be boring with this one, but
I think I know where you're going with this.
No, it's Grand Theft Auto 5. It's the enhanced and expanded.
One.
Look,
The surest pick.
I mean, it's just like, that was, we talked about it on the podcast, just the weirdest announcement trailer in the world. Like, they announced it on their I think it kicked off their PS5 E3 press conference, and it didn't show any next gen footage. It was all on base PS4 footage. Like, why would they do that? And, it kind of makes me think, on the plus side, if I'm thinking glass is half full, maybe they're got some huge surprises, and this is just going to be really enhanced and expanded, maybe a new map along with it, which I highly doubt. But glass is, half empty. I'm thinking this thing's not coming out this year, and it's just going to be delayed. But anyway, I think it's going to be in the press conference.
Delayed?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we haven't even seen this thing, and they gave us that PS4 gameplay. Like, why would they do that? It's absurd.
I guess the question is, how big can it possibly look? Like,
I know. I agree.
Like, I've always imagined this is just going to be a 60 frames unlock.
Yeah.
In 4K.
But we already got that. We already got that in the PS4 generation version of the game.
Yeah, but now you get a prettier version.
You look, y'all. No, they're hyping this up as enhanced and expanded, not GTA 5 just next gen. This is enhanced and expanded, so it's got to be something a little bit more than, even if it's still like the PS4 upgrade was a pretty significant upgrade.
Very substantial upgrade.
Yeah, pedestrians, more traffic,
first-person mode.
Yeah, resolution. I mean, it was good. Yeah, first person mode. So I think that we're going to get the trailer for it. I think it's going to drop some bombs. Like maybe. I don't think there's going to be a new map, but possibly, and I would be very hyped for that.
Here's the thing: the trailer for that PS4 update. That trailer was incredible. I remember seeing that trailer, and I was like, "Oh, that's a day one."
Yeah, dude.
Own this game on PS3, and I'm like, "This is a day one."
And this is the thing: if they drop it and it's featured and it's kind of what we think it's going to be, this will be one of the best selling games this fall.
It's a damn shame.
It will be on PS5, and it'll be for Xbox, and PlayStation has an exclusive. I forget what it is. I was trying to look it up and see, but it's something with GTA Online. I think GTA Online is going to be free for PS5 players for a little while.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be a standalone.
Yep, they're also phasing out the PS3 players.
So there's precedent for that.
Yeah, but anyway, we'll see. But that's my pick, and that's actually what I'm most hyped about.
Probably the first thing we see.
I hope so.
Probably, honestly.
That's what happened last time. I remember the last press conference they opened with that, and I was like, "This is the kind of press conference we're getting."
Dude, look, and now if they went. If I know this won't happen, but if they show GTA 6, I mean, I'd faint. Like I'd absolutely faint. But they're not going to.
Be the
What
best,
about
maybe the best
ever? Yeah.
The
What about
remasters.
the rumored remasters? Yeah, exactly. They could show those.
Now that I'd be on board for. I don't want to see the same thing I've been seeing for how many years? 6 years now. I don't want to see that. I would want to see the remaster trilogy for.
You'd want to see even older stuff. You don't want to see the 2013 game.
Yeah.
You want to see
the
2003 game.
I want to see the old stuff.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
What if they bundle that in with the PS5 edition?
See, that would be perfect. And if it lines up with what I'm thinking that that's going to be very disappointing for people that want like a true remaster. I honestly think it's going to be like 60 frames, upscaled resolution, 1080p, 4K resolution. And it's just going to be the classic game. Like,
if it's got better controls, though, I'll get in.
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great. If they could do some little quality of life stuff like that, I think that's what it'd be. And then they could package it in with the GTA 5 pre-order. That would be awesome.
Yeah, they I don't think they'll miss an opportunity to make even more money by offering it as a standalone remake instead of just bundling it in, to Grand Theft Auto Online.
Yeah,
that's true.
Because I mean, some people might buy that, but that's not going to be like a lot. It's not going to be as many people as are going to buy Grand Theft Auto 5 for PS5. So,
man, if it comes to Switch, oh goodness, I'm getting that on the Switch.
Think about, oh my god,
will it run on the Switch though? If they
it ran on PS2.
It depends on how. Well, it depends. Oh well,
no,
I'm talking Switch.
No, I'm talking about the original 3,
right?
GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas.
That will all depend on how much of a remaster or a remake this actually is, because if we're expecting like, I don't know, Final Fantasy VII remake levels, like that's not going to run on a Switch.
Oh, no.
But like, if we just get a little bit of up-res on a Switch, that could happen. But would they announce? They wouldn't announce that on PlayStation
If
conference.
they release any Grand Theft Auto on Switch, I really don't understand why that hasn't happened. Truth be told, playing those games on Switch sounds like a dream. It could be any one of them. Any one of them, I would love to play on my Switch. I'd rebuy them because you have to rebuy them. It'd probably be $60.
Yep.
But Grand Theft Auto, if you got Grand Theft Auto 5 on Switch, even just the original version.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll run.
Ah.
I think that's the whole issue.
The one on PS3? That will run.
I don't know.
Switch
my Switch is over here struggling to run Fire Emblem.
Hey, I have faith. I have faith in it, but that's a very sound point. It's a very sound point. All right. So for me, what I expect at this press conference, I expect Final Fantasy.
16.
That'd be hype. I want to see 16 again.
I really, really need to see more of this game. Because this game is going, like, as far as Final Fantasy goes, I've never seen a Final Fantasy game look like this. It looks more Lord of the Rings-ish.
More medieval time, like
Yeah,
cool.
I'm just like, I'm so anticipating this game, but I know so little about it. And it's a PlayStation exclusive for, I think, a year, right?
I think at least, yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's right.
So it's like, as far as I'm like, that game's supposed to come out like early 2022.
I actually don't think it has any release date associated with it because I know they have a release date or a release window for Forspoken, but I don't think they actually released any information for Final Fantasy 16. As far as
What
release
comes
dates go.
what comes first, Forspoken or Final Fantasy 16?
Forspoken, for sure.
That comes first? Okay.
Yeah. I think this is the direction that Final Fantasy should go. It's almost like a kind of a reboot. Like they're going back to their roots a little bit. Like I know a lot of fans that want the pre-7 style Final Fantasy, which leans more into like the medieval, the old fantasy,
All about the crystals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. A lot of people are asking for that, especially Final Fantasy fans. Because, I mean, 7, I feel like, has the best set of characters, but it's not the best Final Fantasy game, in my opinion. And I do feel like that's the one that, no matter what, they like to give the most shine. And I would like them to hit a numbered Final Fantasy out the park. Because I feel like 15 you cannot call 15 hitting it out the park. It got on a base. I think you could say I feel like second base. I feel like it got the second base, It didn't run home.
I don't think they've hit it out of the park since 10. Honestly.
Hold on. I mean, Final Fantasy 7 Final Fantasy 7 Remake, they hit out the park.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I get that.
Yeah,
I'm talking about mainline.
Final Fantasy.
But that's not mainline Final Fantasy.
It technically is.
No. That's a remake. I mean, I would say 10, and then you skip 11 because it's online. 12, 13, and 15.
12, I don't like. So yeah, I agree with you on there.
13 was
14. 14. They eventually.
They did.
Knocked it out of the park.
There, but it's still.
I just kind of set that aside just because it's an MMO.
14 and 11 gets set to the side.
But it is great. We'll say that. And 11 was great.
They definitely hit 14 out the park after the initial just launch.
But the mainline single player games is kind of what we're talking about. So like
13 was, I'd say, like
bad.
Second. Bad. It wasn't bad.
It
second
base.
It wasn't bad. It's not. It's just as bad as 15. I honestly put them on.
Hold on. Absolutely
yeah,
not.
hold on, y'all.
Man, these Final Fantasy nerds, I can't say.
Y'all, can you? But think about this. Can you imagine if they knocked out a new Final Fantasy 16 the way they like knocked 7 out of the park? Like the original. I'm talking about the original 7.
The crazy
like
thing
if
is,
it hit mainstream and just went crazy and was just huge.
They all sell well. So if you hit it out the park, you might have a record-setting Final Fantasy game.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
dude, imagine if
Final
Fantasy wasn't just on the cup noodles, but was also on the Oreos. Imagine that. It would be amazing.
McDonald's Happy Meals.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Put it on everything, dude.
I mean, I think the 16, if it is everything it looks like it's going to be. Because what I've seen just looks incredible.
It does.
But 15 looked incredible too.
Do you think we'll get a release window for it?
I think we're gonna date.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think we're gonna date.
God, could you imagine if it was like next Christmas and like 2022 is just so stacked? It'd be the baddest.
2022. I don't think they're gonna delay that.
You think Final Fantasy 16 is next year?
Yeah.
I don't. I think it's 2023. I think it was going to be like a February 2023 game, or
That sounds
fall,
about right.
or probably fall 2023. Actually, I would think.
I think it's coming 2023 as well. I don't think we're gonna
think-
get it next year, but
I
I
don't
think
know.
we will see some
Where-
of it.
Yeah,
It doesn't take that much time in between Final Fantasy games. Because that'd be 3 years in between Final Fantasies.
Yeah, I mean, we waited for 15 for a million years, so I
There was
think
one in
it
between. We had some of those sequels, right? Like some of the sequels to
those don't count. The
Okay,
sequels don't count.
you know what though? We are getting that Dark Souls one too.
Yeah.
Forgot about that one. So okay. So
We might see more of that actually, and we might actually get a release date for that because it's already had a demo. So, like,
and that takes place in the
and
world
a
of Final
good
Fantasy
demo.
1, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah,
Which I haven't played. So
I think now that you mention it, I think we're gonna get a date for that one, which I will be buying Gay One for sure.
it will be like day 50, 60. Wait for that first sale. But I am partially excited for that one as well. But enough Final Fantasy. Alfredo, what is your anticipated game?
Ooh, so many games, but I think I am going to go with everybody's favorite Cars 3 developer, Avalanche.
good call. That'll be.
We are going to see Hogwarts Legacy. Why, you may ask? Because PlayStation owns the rights of marketing for that game, and now would be the perfect time to actually see more of it, since we know for sure that it has been delayed till next year. So hopefully we'll get, as of yet, we still have not gotten any actual gameplay for this game. So hopefully they give us some sort of, maybe not a deep dive, but some sort of actual insight as to how this game actually works. Is it going to be, I don't know, a third-person shooter with spells a la Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, which was
Oh my
a
God,
terrible video game?
That just put flashbacks in my head. Oh my god.
Are we gonna get that? Hopefully not. Are we gonna get a card deck builder inspired game like Slay the Spire with spells? I don't know. Are we gonna get? I really don't know what to expect with this game, honestly. Are we gonna get a Fire Emblem type emblem with like personal relationships? There's just so little I know about this actual game that has been released. That I'm just like a little rat with cheese, just like, give me something. Like, I need to know more about this game. It's the Harry Potter universe, so I'm already in, but like, you need to give me something. And I think we'll finally get some clarity come next Thursday.
I think it's gonna be an open school. Like not open world, but
Please, yeah, it'd be
school,
great.
you know, like I feel like you're gonna be able to explore Hogwarts. Cause I just feel like what we've seen just seems like it's gonna be a deep dive into Harry Potter lore. Like this is going to be, if you are a Harry Potter fan, this is probably going to be essential.
Mhm.
You know, because just from a lore standpoint, there's going to be a lot because we're going deep into like early. I think it takes place like way early into the timeline of Harry
Yeah, it's
Potter.
like the 1800s or something like that.
We're getting a lot of lore in terms of that, which, you know, people are talking about, you know, J.K. Rowling's not involved. I'm like, she had to be involved in some capacity. That lore doesn't change without her.
Mhm.
So I am looking forward to the idea and potential of this game. I can't say I'm looking forward to this game.
Let me guess, because we know now the developer's history.
I can't lie and act like it's not a part of it. But also, in conjunction with that, just how little we've seen of this game in comparison to how long this game has been in production.
I think what we have seen of this game is hopeful. It gives me hope.
Yeah, it's promising.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's promising for sure, because we've seen enough to get us interested, Like, we know that we're going to be a student. We know that we can choose, our house, and that'll affect like the relationships we have with different students. We know we can attend class. It's like, what's the word? It's giving us everything that we've ever wanted if Hogwarts was a true thing. Like, everyone wants to be able to choose their own house. Everyone wants to take classes at Hogwarts. Like, that's every Harry Potter fan's dream. So like, it's hitting on all those. But as far as like the actual gameplay, we're currently in the dark about it. So I just hope that they can, they do it in a way that makes like the actual gameplay fun. But as of right now, I have no idea. It's anybody's guess.
Wait, now remember the gameplay that leaked from a long time ago? Did they ever officially show gameplay of this, or is it just the trailer?
Just the trailer. I definitely remember the character creator, but was there actual gameplay?
Yes, there was actually gameplay leaked. So you guys need to look that up because it gives a hint of what the game's going to be. It looks awesome. It looks like an action adventure Harry Potter game, like spells and combat and stuff, and it's third person. So I mean, you should. I'll try to find it and link it in the.
I remember watching it when it first came out, when it first leaked.
Yeah, and everybody was going crazy about it.
I was like, that looks pretty good.
It looks incredible. Yeah.
So it just, to me, it almost feels too good to be true. Like that's what this game kind of feels like. The overall vibe I get, just because I want this game to be great. Don't get it twisted. Like, if I could say 2022, my game of the year is Hogwarts Legacy, I'll be very happy. But it just seems like it's just like, it looks really good. I just don't know. I just don't know enough.
Well, hopefully all our dreams will be answered on the 9th. I'm going to real quick slip in that I am also really wanting The Last of Us factions. The standalone multiplayer to The Last of Us. I'm praying that we get this. I don't think we'll actually get it, but I'm praying.
I didn't say it because I thought somebody else would. Yes. That's definitely like up there in my wants, because man, I think we could get it. I think it's a good chance we might get it. If not a date, at least an announcement of it.
I'm just cautious because we got The Last of Us 2 last year, almost about 1 year to this date. So I don't know if they've had enough time. Yeah. So is 1 year enough? But of course, we know that they were working on the multiplayer component in conjunction with the single player at first, up until the last few months where they had to push it. So I don't know. Hopefully it'll be enough time. Hopefully they had been working on it for years to come and not just, and maybe like a year of polish, and then I'll get it before the year's over. That would be amazing. But
part of me must be selfish, and I kind of hope it doesn't come out this year.
Why?
Because I do not want to be playing that game the same time I'm playing Halo Infinite. I just, because I know when Halo Infinite comes out, like, that's going to be my life for the next like couple weeks, couple months. If you're telling me Factions is coming out around that same time, then my whole plans change.
That's super fair. And for that, they're probably thinking the same thing too. So I wouldn't be surprised if it isn't coming until next year because of that reason.
Those might, like, if you really think about it, those are kind of competing games.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking multiplayer that's exclusive to the platform, which I also think what might be good for them. I don't know. I doubt they'll do this, but a simultaneous release on Steam. That would be interesting, because I feel like they need, because it's going to be kind of hard to get like eyes on this in the same way like a Halo is going to have eyes on its multiplayer. And so if they really want to do it up, I think, because I mean, there's already been precedent of them releasing games on Steam. This will be a game that if it came out on Steam, I don't think anybody would bat an eye.
Very true, yeah. Some would argue me that, Factions might be better than Halo, but who's to say?
I don't think I can even disagree with that for real. Factions is a really good multiplayer mode. If they're putting standalone care into it, it can only go. It was already great. If they just ported that same mode over with the new system, the new engine, it'd still be amazing. But the fact that they're pretty much putting like just a singular focus on it, I'm excited.
Yeah, and also give me co-op, please. Like Uncharted 2. That'd be great. Thank you.
Asking a lot.
I think we're gonna get it.
I hope we
My
get
words.
it all. I hope we get it all. But last and certainly not least, we have to do the podcast within a podcast. The floor is yours, Cole.
Okay, I'm gonna give y'all two choices. Would y'all rather go the Madden route or the SOCOM U.S. Navy SEALs route?
I want to go Madden.
Yeah, me too, Madden.
Okay, all right. So so I would argue that Madden 2001 carried the PlayStation 2. It was the best launch game on PS2. That was everyone knows that was a very weak lineup. I personally had Madden 2001 and Midnight Club by Rockstar. Anyway, so before that game, there was one notable football game that came to Dreamcast, and it was NFL 2K. And I remember playing that game the first time. It was the first football game that had notable graphics, but specifically it had commentary. It was the first football game with voiceover commentary. And I mean, I remember me and my cousin playing this game. Came out in 2000 or 99 on Dreamcast, and our dads come in the room and everybody coming in and checking it out, and they couldn't believe like how great the graphics were, this and that. But that still wasn't the game that changed sports games forever, I don't think. Madden 2001 kicked off the Madden series and the NCAA football games back in the day. And I would argue that the golden years, well, I mean, I guess you could argue the golden years would be the 90s for Madden, but like the biggest years of Madden, 2001 to the Xbox 360, PS3 generation, like basically the PS2 generation of the football games was unbelievable. And it reached a zeitgeist that hasn't been reached in sports games, I don't think, since. Anyway, 2001, I remember us playing this game at launch, and we were all freaking out about one thing, and it was that the characters, the players' eyes would blink. So it was the first time it ever happened in like a sports game. But you would see the players, and they also did between plays, like the classic Madden camera, but between plays. It was the first time that's ever happened. So that was cool. The presentation was unbelievable. The gameplay was incredible. And to this day, Madden does not even touch the gameplay of the original ones, I don't think, of those 2001 to 2007, 2008.
They felt more arcadey.
It was definitely arcadey, and it was real. It was just very responsive. It felt so responsive and stuff, and it was twitchy. Yeah, it was arcadey. But so you had 2001, and then 2004, Michael Vick was on the cover, and he was just the greatest athlete of all time in any video game. Still to this day, no one's ever been as dominant as Michael Vick in 2004.
2020? Are you sure? Like he was on 2004?
Yeah, 2004. Is that what I say?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yes, he was on 2004.
2004 is probably the best Madden ever made.
Yeah, I think so. 2004 and 2005. So every year, everyone I knew would go to Madden release, the midnight launch of Madden in August every year, into July, August every year. Madden came out. Everyone went to GameStop, EB, Babbage's, whatever, wherever you went, you got to get Madden at midnight. And then the NCAA games. Did y'all ever play any of those in the PlayStation 2 era?
Hey man, I played all these games. Yeah, I don't even want to know how much money I spent on Madden and NCAA. I don't even want to know.
Yeah, everyone would get the NCAA would come out in July, and then like early July, and then the Madden come out a month later.
Yeah,
and everybody would buy both of them, and every single person was playing these games. It was as big or bigger than Call of Duty, as far as like just the zeitgeist it reached.
It probably was the Call of Duty of its time.
Exactly. That's exactly what it reminded me of. The next thing, it's like that whole group left Madden and NCAA and went over to Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Because it was like the cool, the people that only play Madden or they only play Call of Duty.
It was the mainstream
game.
It still is. Much.
Another thing they had was so I got really good. This is my claim to fame. Back in the day, I was really good at Madden. Particularly, I was good with the Falcons. I'm a huge Falcons fan and a Michael Vick fan. So I was incredible with Michael Vick. And I entered to the Madden Challenge. The Madden Challenge was this tournament that went around the United States, and they put in kiosks in malls and everything, and you advance up and you win like $1 million. But I went to Lenox Square Mall, Alfredo, right there in Atlanta, and there was like 100 kiosks and all these Madden players. Everybody's wearing jerseys and stuff. This was probably like 2007 or 2006. No, it was 05 because it was 06 version of Madden. Anyway, I won the first round. I waited around to my next game. I got absolutely destroyed on my second round of Madden. But I entered into the Falcons had a store in the mall called the Falcons 365 store in that mall. So I entered in a tournament there. It was like 32 players, whatever. And the winner got to play D'Angelo Hall, who was a cornerback for the Falcons.
That's one of my favorite players ever.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite players ever. So I made it all the way, played D'Angelo Hall, beat him, won the tournament, and won like $500. Yeah, I won like $500 worth of merchandise from the Falcons 365 store. I had like autographed hats and all this kind of stuff. It was awesome. So that was like my Madden. And then I laid down the controller after that, and when the next gen came, I completely fell out of Madden, which I think a lot of people did. The sales are still good, but
you literally dropped it once everything went downhill.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it did go downhill. I mean,
even the last good one.
Yeah, like right when it transitioned to the PS3 generation.
Yeah,
I quit. I pretty much quit playing. It's sad, but
out with the bang though.
You know the article? 2009, where they had Brett Favre on the cover, and they put the replayability in, where you can just replay your plays.
Oh yeah. See. And I remember like they had these gimmicks. So 2005, they announced the hit stick, where you hit the stick down and you could blow up people, or you could. So that was the hit stick. Then the next year they added the vision cone, which that was their way of offsetting Michael Vick, because everyone said that Vick's a runner, he's not a passer. So like Tom Brady's vision cone was like the entire field, and you had to move with the left stick. With the left stick, you could tweak your vision cone, and as long as someone was within the vision cone, you would throw a good pass, right? Michael Vick's vision cone, I swear, was like, it was so tiny, and if you couldn't even play with Vick. Like you would throw it 10 yards over someone's head if you didn't get him in that exact sliver of the vision cone. You just look up a video of it; it's absurd.
Well, he was overpowered as hell.
No, he was.
2004.
He was overpowered in the NFL too.
If you're using him, it's like he's making the most pristine passes, and if there's full coverage, he's just running like a running back.
But it's just sad that those games were so huge, and at one point it was a thing where like all your buddies, everybody was playing Madden, every age, like up to 40. My brother was playing and everything. Well, it was a cool time.
They had to be great because they had to compete with 2K.
Yeah.
Once they got ownership of the brand of making NFL games, EA has just shit out Maddens every single year.
Yeah, and that's when it went down. That was about the time it went down. It was great in the early 2000s to 2009, 2007, 2008, but after that, I think it's terrible now. I mean, I don't think it's terrible. I just don't play it anymore. But
16-year strong relationship. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
great
reminisce.
Great reminisce. Well, thank you for watching the Dukes of Gaming, or listening, to the Dukes of Gaming podcast. Again, you can leave a like on YouTube. You can follow us on SoundCloud, follow us on Spotify, follow us on anywhere where you want to watch your podcast, follow us on YouTube. Anything helps with the show. Help us grow. You can even email us at therealdukesofgaming@gmail.com. If you want to have your question read live on air, we'll be happy to read it for you. We're coming at you next week with some more hot takes in the world of gaming. But till then, I bid thee farewell.